In 1 Samuel 8, Samuel's old. He's the prophetic leader of God's people. He's the last of the judges. And he was a mighty man of God who knew the voice of the Lord, who called the people to walk in righteousness. But Samuel's own sons didn't walk in his ways. They were corrupt. They took bribes, twisted justice. So the elders, unhappy with the condition of their nations, wanted to take things into their own hands. They took Samuel aside and they basically said, look, this judge thing isn't working. So give us a king like all the other nations. God's ways aren't working fast enough. They're not producing the results that we desire. So instead of looking to the Lord for the answer, instead of saying, let's seek the Lord to understand what's going wrong here, they decided to turn to their own wisdom, to their own understanding. And they looked around at the surrounding nations, and from where they stood, well, that must be working. So Samuel, give us a king like they have. God's people were supposed to be a light to those nations that were in darkness, right? We were supposed to be shining to them so that they would come streaming to the righteousness of God they see in us. So then why were God's people looking to the darkness for the solutions to their problems? The Lord tells a grieving Samuel, look, they've not rejected you, Samuel. This isn't about the effectiveness of judges. They've rejected me. They're not looking to me for the answer they need. They're looking for me to grant them the answer they want. And so I'll give them what they want. Let that sink in for a second. How often do we do the same thing? How often do we look around and think, if only we had a better system, or if we had a better leader, a better plan, a better everything, whatever it would be, everything would be fine. We put our hope in things we can see like governments and people and political parties thinking they're going to fix what's broken. But what's really broken? It's the human heart. People of God, where is our hope? Where is the answer? Is it in a political party or a political figure? The answer to the problems in our society and in our world will not be solved at the ballot box. Vote, let's each do our part. But don't put your hope in your vote or in a party or in a nation. The answer to what ails us won't be solved through legalisms and law-giving. Laws and legalisms don't change hearts. Only Yeshua, only Jesus can do that. And he stands at the door and knocks. He doesn't kick it in. He waits for it to be open to him. When every vote has been cast and counted, half of the people of this country will feel devastated and demoralized, like there's no hope for our nation, that America is over. They'll be tearing their clothes, so to speak, in grief, because their hope is in government or in a nation or in a political party or political figure. And the other half will be elated, overjoyed for the same reason, because they've placed their hope in a nation, in a government, in a political party or political figure. And when every ballot is cast and counted, still the hearts of Americans and every part of the political spectrum will still be desperately broken and lost and in need of a transformation that no party can give, that only Yeshua can give. And that's what we have. He has given us the light of his truth in these fragile jars of clay, and he's called us to be his ambassadors. 2 Corinthians 4 tells us, for God who said, let light shine out of darkness, is the one who has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Messiah. The next chapter says he's entrusted to us the message of transformation or reconciliation. We are Messiah's ambassadors, as though God himself were making his appeal through us. We implore you on Messiah's behalf, be reconciled, be transformed to God. So today, tomorrow, and every day after, when systems disappoint, when leaders fail us, which they will, what we celebrate is that we are citizens of a kingdom that will never fail. And we have the hope the world needs, the hope of transformation, the good news of Messiah Yeshua, who stands at the door and knocks, and he calls on the hurting, and he calls the broken to come to him. He calls the proud and the arrogant and the self-reliant to humble themselves and find life and newness in him. We too were slaves to sin, but he loved us to life. And so that is our cry: be transformed, be reconciled to God, because that's his cry. Every nation will fall, but his kingdom is an everlasting kingdom that will never pass away. His kingdom is one that will not be destroyed. He alone, Yeshua alone, the King of all kings, he alone is our hope.